Hey everyone, welcome back to a new video. I hope you had a great day. Let's take a look at some new Tales from the Call Center. Thank you for subscribing to the channel and for hitting the like button. If you haven't already, why don't you make this the video that you subscribe to the channel? And please don't forget to hit the like button for the algorithm. And now let's start with the first story, shall we? The first story is called That Backfired Royally. An upset lady calls in and says she had made a change to her flights because the airline had made some changes and she was forced to pay a steep $1,500 per ticket in fare difference. Understandable that she was upset. She says her sister has the exact same itinerary and made the same flight change and didn't have to pay a thing. And she claimed my colleague pressured her to accept the fare difference. So she was expecting us to refund her the difference. It's not fair. My sister didn't pay a thing and your colleague made it sound like I had to say yes. No, that's certainly concerning. Let me look at the record and the notes. And here's my sister's flight info. You can see it yourself that she did the exact same thing and I shouldn't have to pay if she didn't. So initially it looked like the colleague working on upset lady's flight change had made the mistake and failed to get a waiver to change the flights for free. However, it was discovered that she rescheduled her return flight to depart 3 days earlier, which is not allowed per airline and voluntary schedule change rules. If the airline makes a change to your schedule that doesn't work for you, you can only rebook to another flight for free the same day or 1 day before or after the original departure date. If the schedule change from the airline is significant, a change of 3 hours or more depending on the airline, then they can cancel for a full refund. So I call the airline, and the airline advises that my colleague was correct. She would have to pay the fare difference because she changed her flight to return 3 days earlier. She is not due a refund, she would have to pay the fare difference. She says her sister got the exact same thing done for free. Here's the record locator. The airline puts up the record locator. And oh boy, my other colleague that's helped the upset lady's sister had seriously messed up. She had gone ahead and changed the flights for free with a generic waiver and had failed to reach out to the airline first to get approval before making the change. So our agency will now be required to pay the fare difference to the airline. I told the lady, I spoke to the airline and they said you were correctly charged the fare difference. There was no error here. But what about my sister? I told you it was free for her. I won't accept this. So here's the thing. The airline says your sister should have also paid the fare difference as well. I don't know what occurred on your sister's call to us, but we may be reaching out to her regarding her flights now. The realization was dawning on her that her sister may now be forking over $1,500 too because of her. Oh my god. The colleague that assisted you processed the flight change correctly. I'm sorry, but that's been confirmed by the airline directly. The lady was in panic mode. Isn't there anybody I could speak to who could advocate for us? Like a higher up or CEO? I'm a especially shiny client. I'm sure you can do something for us. I've done all that I can. I've spoken to the airline and a supervisor. There was no error here. On your record. Moral of the story? The you did it for them, why not me argument can royally backfire. I would hate to be your sister right now. The next story is called A Fired Customer. The other night we had a caller. It's a call center, so we get lots of them. But this guy was special. He called in, put on an accent, demanded an interpreter. We got him an interpreter and he insulted the poor woman. She was doing her best and he wouldn't stop abusing her. He wouldn't verify his first and last name, so we had to tell him, sorry, can't help without that. The interpreter has enough and hangs up, and so does the rep. I'm a lead. Then one of my reps gets the guy and comes to me. Says, this guy is demanding a supervisor, keeps screaming, won't tell me his name. He came up in the system, so I found his account. I do the whole, well, we need at least his first and last name. Tell him we have to have it to help, see what he says. My rep comes back to me and tells me that he's now calling him names, useless, worthless, waste of time, idiot, etc. I tell my rep, listen, you don't have to take that. He can yell about the company and the situation. He can swear about both. But the second he attacks you personally, you go right ahead and tell him he needs to stop or you will hang up. He gets one warning, you aren't paid to get insulted personally. My rep goes back to talk to the customer and returns to let me know that the customer didn't respond when he went back. I'm like, well, he didn't want a supervisor that bad then. I go on my lunch and come back to the other lead on duty in an off-call status because she's doing her notes from an escalation. I check in with her. She's a baby lead and I want to make sure she's okay. Turns out Mr. No Name called again and escalated to her. and as soon as I go available, another of my reps is calling me, saying he's on the line again. She can't get him to verify. Go figure. So I say, okay, send him to me. I'll tell him he isn't being assisted without verification. I get the call, and you guys, he's a complete tool. He keeps talking over me, insisting that he wants to make a complaint. But he still refuses to verify his account, so I can note his account and take the complaint properly. All our systems require a name to enter notes. He begins calling me a child, demanding to know why I am so stupid that I can't answer a yes or no question, which he never asked. Finally, after about 20 minutes of him screaming and calling me foul things, I said, because you refuse to verify your account and despite several warnings continue to talk to me in this way, I'm going to disconnect the call. Thank you for calling and have a nice night. I start my notes for all of this. And I hear from my baby lead friend that she called the weekend supervisor because she was worried she was going to get into trouble for hanging up on the guy as well. The supervisor told her to have reps just send the guy right to the leads. And now I'm getting an instant message from a rep who had him before, saying the guy is on the line again. This time demanding a male lead and insisting he has the right to demand this. He was still refusing to even give his first and last name. And plot twist. Remember the accent and need for an interpreter from the beginning? When I got him and every call afterward, I had them pulled and listened to be sure he spoke perfect unaccented English. I called the supervisor myself and explained the entire thing. She gave me the go-ahead to put in his account. This customer is very abusive and refuses to verify his account. If he calls and refuses, tell him we cannot assist without verification and disconnect the call. That message will pop up every time anyone opens his account from now on. When I checked it yesterday, the closing process was started. The supervisor fired the customer. According to her notes, he got nasty with her when she called to find out what he wanted. And she told him, since he couldn't stop abusing people, we no longer choose to do business with you. I work for a travel agency affiliated with a major bank and back doing travel reservations as calls shut up due to summer travel. I get a lady who has been with us for many years who is incapable of reading her itinerary, asking simple questions and checking in for her flight. Nope, she calls in already irritated because of her hold time and asks for me to check her and her husband in for her flight. The reason she couldn't do so, even though she says she knows how to, is because we didn't give her the airline record locator, and the other girl did it for her outbound flight. Due to disclosures, we recommend clients check in themselves online or at the airport, but Sharon insists that I do it after telling her. I could have given her the record locator located on her itinerary and she could have checked in online in 2 minutes. I'd be happy to provide you your record locator so that you could check in. The other girl did it for me. I'm sure you can do it too. I pulled up the airline website and said, I'll do it, but just to let you know, I have to advise you of all the disclosures. Yeah, that's fine. There was a pause while I was plugging in her record locator and getting ready to check in. Sharon, out of nowhere, you're not going to do something I don't like, are you? Excuse me? I said, you're not going to do something I don't like, are you? You know, I've been with you for 20 years. We're not going to have a problem, are we? I was tempted to tell her she can check in at the airport with her bags and her attitude if she doesn't trust me, but decided to play the dumb card. I'm sorry, I don't understand the issue here. I'm about to check in for you. Sharon scoffs. Never mind, just forget about it and check me in. So I proceeded to check in, and proceeded to read her every single disclosure, which I took pleasure in doing because I could tell it was further irritating her. But she couldn't complain because I told her in the beginning. The call took 12 minutes. If she would have just let me give her the record locator, it would have taken her 2 minutes to do it herself. The next story is called A University Degree Doesn't Make You Not Stupid. I work a call center job for an ISP. This story comes from the time I was working the general customer service line for people with general queries about their services, bills, etc. I'd received a call from a woman asking for an update on her application and why it was taking so long to get her connected. I did a thorough check through our system, but we legitimately didn't have an application from her at all. She started raising her voice, asking what became of the bank details she entered into our website's application form and how we have somehow set her up for potential fraud. As per our company's policy at the time, I had to take her details and create an account for her just to file her complaint. Then I asked her to send in the email she received confirming that her application was submitted to us. 2 days later, I received an email from her with 2 attachments. She has submitted an email verifying that she's created an online profile on our website, but nothing to confirm that an actual application for broadband service has been sent to us. What did she send instead, you ask? Well, you know how whenever you complete a form online and it gives you a summary of the details you've entered before you click submit or continue to complete it? Yeah, she sent me that. I called her back and told her she did not properly submit an application and has only sent me a screenshot of the summary of her application. She denied this, saying that the summary page was evidence enough that she'd done everything expected of her. I told her that, unless she clicked submit, which she omitted from the screenshot, we would have never received her application in the first place. Are you saying that I'm stupid? She asked me in a very snarky tone. She then went on to tell me that she has a university degree and can't be stupid, and that I need to do my job and fill in an application on her behalf using the details she sent me in the screenshot. I told her that this would be a breach of data protection. Plus, even if it was my job to do this, I didn't have all the details needed to process an application. She then has the audacity to ask what happened to her bank details once more, since she clearly entered them into the form. I reminded her that she never submitted her application, therefore her bank details have gone nowhere. The call ended with her saying she's going to badmouth the company on social media and will never consider us again. I mean, good riddance. Simply having a university degree doesn't make someone immediately intelligent. I wouldn't be surprised if the degree in her possession was stolen from someone else. I never called her stupid, but I was certainly thinking it. The last story is called "The Company Has Enough Money." During the housing market crash in 2008, I was working for a telecommunications company, aka a phone company. I was the guy you talked to when you wanted to start service, stop service, angry about your bill, make a payment, change service, question about a bill, etc. I get this call from this lady in January 2009, and she tells me how she hasn't paid the bill in about 2 to 3 months and needs to reduce her service to just a basic landline. I don't know why I still remember this, but it was $10.43 a month plus tax. Now, this lady had everything. Cable with all the channels, plus all the premium movie channels. The biggest home phone package with all the features like caller ID, call waiting, even the things people don't even use like auto return calls. She also had unlimited long distance. That was a big deal back then. And the highest internet we offered, a whopping 3 megabits per second. This bill monthly after tax was $250 plus, so she owed like $750 or something. What was crazy about this was this lady made no excuses as to why she didn't pay the bill. She wasn't yelling, blaming anyone, making excuses, trying to get credit, requesting a supervisor, none of it. So, like a good little call center representative, I put on my retention hat and asked why she was cancelling everything except the barebone service. She explained that her husband lost his job due to the recession and they just fell behind. No big excuses, no crying, just telling it like it is. Meanwhile, I'm looking at her payment history and her internal credit score. Basically how good a customer someone is to see if she is blowing smoke, and she wasn't. She had perfect payment for years. I did as she asked and removed the services. I also let her know I was going to backdate it to the beginning of the billing cycle, so she wouldn't have to pay her full $250 plus bill this month and only the $10 plus change. This was kind of a goodwill policy the company said we could do, and knowing we sometimes get recorded, I used it. Except, I lied. Instead of backdating the bill to the beginning of the quarter, I backdated it to a year prior. Yes, I backdated it to a full year. Cause screw this company, they have the money. So instead of just not paying the current full bill, she most likely got a credit back on her bill for around $3,000. And with her new $10 bill, that should have taken care of her and her fam for a while. To cover myself if anything got brought up about it, I was going to say I mistyped the date wrong. It's January, and how often for those first few weeks do we still write a date with the previous year? I did pull her account up a few months later to see if anything changed. And nope, she had like $2,900 credit or so still on her account. Obviously not sure whatever happened to this family. I just hope the money she would have paid went to something fun for her and her family, since it sounded like it was rough for them. And she took responsibility and didn't pass any blame. And now it's your time to shine. Let me know what you think about the stories. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate the stories and today's video? I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you have a great day. Stay safe. Bye bye.